Peace and blessings, and welcome back to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. We are the 30 for 30 for independent artists, and we crown the veterans who've laid the foundation for hip hop culture, the same culture you love. So before we get into this interview, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and the notification bell on YouTube if you're watching. But if you're streaming this, give us a 5-star review, because tonight we have an artist that puts his life on the line lyrically, which means he's just not rapping for you to like it. He's rapping with a message. Please introduce yourself to the people.
What's up, man? It's DLabrie. LaBrie, love and beauty lies in everyone. Lies and bullshit revolving everyday life. AKA Mr. Network, AKA the EOG. What's up, Heritage? What's up, hip hop? What's good?
Hey, man, I'm happy to get to talk to you because we've covered the Vampire Network before on the blog. Shout out to Wanja, and shout out to everybody who subscribes to heritagehiphop.com who knows what's going on the website. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's big love. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
No doubt. So let's get into it.
Right.
My interviews are not like everybody else's interviews because a lot of people ask you the same old questions. I don't. That's the best way, man. Got to be different. Got to switch it up on them. I feel it. I like that. I'm
that type of artist too, so I don't get the usual answer. So you feel me?
Oh, this should be fun.
Definitely.
I don't believe MCs are cookie cutters. I believe MCs are some of the most intelligent people on the planet, and we don't talk to each other intelligently. The people is just think we just people who put words together. You agree?
Some of us, I would say we more intelligent than people may give us credit for. Some of us. And some of us, maybe it might be the opposite. It depends. But yeah, I feel you. The art of MCing, it does, in general, the type of MCing I come from, it brings a degree of intelligence the way I learned it. So I try to express that when I talk to people and have it mean more than just words and dancing and all that. Like, that's part of it, but you can still throw something in there to make sense.
That's right.
That's the way I learned MCing and hip hop. So I try to hold that high in my heart. You feel me?
And since this is my last interview for Black History Month, 2022,
oh, okay, that's an honor to be that.
I want to go out with a bang and show the depth of knowledge of the MC. You ready to have some fun?
Yes, sir. Can you see me good?
Oh yeah, we good, bro.
Okay, cool, perfect.
Hip hop has been weaponized within the past 20 years to try to destroy the inner city by flooding the inner city with subpar music and harsh messages. How do you feel about that take on what hip hop has been?
You said the last 20, or did you say 10 years?
20.
20 years. Okay, that's a good number. So we in 2022, and so about 2002. That's when I really kicked off. In 2002, when I really dropped my first album around then. So man, I feel you on that. It's I'm sure from the way you even said that this platform goes into deep topics, and we on that wavelength when we talking right here. But I guess where you coming from with that, I'm kind of taking that like we talking about the companies behind the music, the media pushing it, the way the angles are coming at the diversity of hip hop and what hip hop could be, or what many of us say it was, and how it's pumped out now, the feeling, the vibes. It is different. I definitely, I like to have a free spirit towards art and music, but as much as we listen to all types of hip hop and we was into all the different types of messages, and I feel like, it was some negative stuff going on that was being pushed, some of the same topics. But, it do feel like it's flooded in a whole nother way now, and it's elevated. But what's kind of bothered me is, like I said, it's always been like crazy stuff going on in hip hop and in the world. So I'm not gonna knock all the artists that put out, different types of topics, and not everybody can't be, Tupac, everybody can't be Lauren, everybody can't be Kendrick, everybody can't. Everybody ain't lived that way. Everybody ain't lived that life. So that's kind of why I said the way I said it when you talked about me having a message. Like, I feel like I was blessed enough to be born into that type of mind state as an artist. Like, my mom was involved with the Panthers. Like, I grew up in Oakland. Like, my mom taught me about things like Africa, Marcus Garvey, and I was raised in a diverse musical, art, political kind of backdrop. So I don't like to bash other artists who may not have that background, that don't come at it like that. But it's just interesting how it works, because I feel like, in some ways it's gone to somewhat to an all-time low, like where it's not feeling like it's even coming from the uniqueness of the artistry anymore. Like you can tell the stories of the problems in your community, and every story ain't pretty, but the way it's pumped through for one, there's so much more music out now. There's so many more artists, so many more platforms, yet we're hearing less and less, and a more and more condensed version of it. Like, it's like when you talk to people who only follow the popular mainstream angles, it's like they're getting less of the balance that they used to. Like, I know Chuck D says that a lot. Like when they criticize the old school hip hop, like, y'all had NWA, y'all had KRS-One with the AK and all that. I come from the hood. I come from the streets. Like, we was all together, Hammer was from my city, Humpty, High Road, they all from Oakland. We all saw it. We all saw all of that. But I guess now it just seemed like it's less space to to really see the full version of what the stories we trying to tell. Like the hugeness of the story has been condensed a lot. And so it's kind of even sad to me, or questionable, when people even try to say, oh, hip hop is like this, or hip hop is like that. Now it's harder to accept, because it's like, man, this is not the whole of it. It's not like, we're not even getting like a good percentage of it to really feel that balance. And I don't think sometimes it's fair or reflective of what's going on. But at the same time, I feel like real artistry and real knowledge, really searching for growth in the things you looking for in life, and truths, and really trying to figure out what's going on in the world. That never dies, though. Like, that's my only defense when I think of, it's not that I'm defending all of hip hop or saying it's all good, but I feel like that's the part that's special about hip hop, that the good still rises, and the good information still rises, and it still challenges. That's why I feel it's so crazy to me to see the largeness mainstream wise of a J. Cole or a Kendrick, or even like a Rhapsody. It's just the way that, like, I feel like it seeps up. Like, people still want that, even if they fed the bullshit. Like, even if it's so mind-boggling to me sometimes, the things we accept in general, not just in hip hop. But it's like me, I come from such a grimy community. I felt like, not to give hip hop all the credit, but while I'm listening to Spice Ones and the Too Shorts and the Wu-Tangs and the Mobb Deeps, I'm also hearing the Coop and the Dells and the UGK. You're hearing a mix, and the Queen Latifahs. And when that was on the radio and the video every day, it's like it did seep into our consciousness. So like now it's like, I just feel like, for Kendrick to be this popular in the midst of so much crazy type of hip hop that's not on that, that's not really coming at it like that, it still shows me something, that people still crave that. They still crave the deepness. It's not saying that every rapper who's conscious, I don't even like those terms sometimes. It's not saying that they never say nothing wrong, and hood rappers and party rappers only say bad things. Like, it's nothing wrong with being funny or silly, or even making stuff up from the imagination, or if you lived a real grimy life or whatever, it's cool. We're not gonna all agree with it, but I do think that the intellect of which you present it on the level you have in you is important. So when you got people that's smart, kind of feeling ashamed to be smart, or like when you got women that's doing like, you know, chill things, like just maintaining, maybe having their kids, maybe single, you know, maybe you gay, maybe you straight, maybe you work, maybe you don't. We gotta keep that. Like that's the part of hip hop that needs to be special, that we all can be in it. And like when you got it to where it's this cloud talk and this when everybody's down for the hype, that's when we miss all the moments. We miss all the chances to grow. And I just never saw art as useful in that way, you know. And I think a lot of companies obviously take advantage of it, like, and it doesn't lead us in the right direction a lot of times.
Exactly, because what I was saying was the weaponization of hip hop. But I have a riddle for you.
Right.
Every weapon is perfect. What is the flaw within every weapon?
It can be used against you. It can backfire on you. Whatever the strength of that weapon, you can come back on you.
Nope.
Okay, let's see.
The only flaw of a weapon is the user itself. Now, how it's used, the person is
right. That's kind of what I meant. Like your strength can become your weakness.
Well, if hip hop has been weaponized, who's in control? Razzcast has a famous hip hop line that says, Jews control hip hop. No, Jews run hip hop, but niggas run around in it.
Right.
Just saying how the business wise hip hop is out of the control of the people that's doing it, because we still go to others for money, we still go to others for endorsements, and we still go with others to be heard. See, that gives me ear to your music because you're not on a major. Shout out to Rendezvous Records.
Thank you.
You're not
That's
on a
named
major.
after my son, by the way. I named my label after my son so I could pass it on to him. And he does music too.
Salute. So that's generational. That's what's up. And not being on a label, and also being from the Bay, you're continuing some of the original hip hop traditions that made hip hop great in the West Coast. It was a do it yourself, make your name known. Shout out to Too Short.
Right.
How does being your own man, putting out your own music, make hip hop more fulfilling to you, instead of having to go somebody to get permission to be hip hop?
Yeah, man, that maybe it's just a thing that it's kind of part of the culture here, is to build ideas. You know, I know every hood had to be creative when the money was low, but you know, having that mixture of that political backdrop of the Panthers, you know, some of the deep revolutionary thought out here, it's kind of like I said, it's something I was born into. So I don't really know nothing else. Like, even when you hear a song like Vampire, that's me being able to experiment, have fun, and do my own thing. But it always comes back to a message. It always comes back to something that's automatically in me, because I was raised this way. So I just think that it's like whatever you are fed all your life. If no one takes you by the hand and say, listen, you can break free and think differently, or these are other options. I feel like my whole life was that. And I don't know anything else. Like, I don't know how to not talk about Black people owning businesses and before slavery, like all that stuff that Kanye talks about. Like, I relate to all that in hip hop. Like, it's automatic for me. Like when Jay-Z starts talking about, starts going into these deeper topics as he gets larger, and the stuff that like Nas and Pac and Chuck D was talking about way back then, it was natural for me to understand it and act on it. So like it's been that way for me. Like I was riding for you know, what they call like backpack rap. Like I don't like the terms. I'm just using them because people know, kind of get what I'm saying. But like I was into that. I was listening. I was the biggest Souls of Mischief fan ever. So I was already looking for that type of hip hop. That's my favorite group. They're my homies. Razzcast my homie. Like I grew up on those guys. So I was doing that in the middle of gangster rap. Like fear, like it wasn't easy and something easy to do, but I did it fearlessly, and I've kept that with me to this day.
So wait. So let's build. So let's build. I'm gonna
ask you a question.
Oh, man.
That's being independent and not caring about the mainstream and seeing the mainstream artists in my backyard. Like, I could walk right up and talk to Shock G. I didn't see it as lights and cameras or Humpty Hump. It's like, nah, this is a real musician. I knew that. Like, they taught me these things. They like these type of artists shared these things with me. And like, it's crazy when you can see your favorite rapper on the bus and you hearing Dale do songs like Rapid Transit, talking about the bus in Oakland with Ice Cube, but you see him doing it and he telling me stuff like artists like that, not saying him technically, but you walk up and see these guys ciphering, you see these guys doing it and building it. So you can't help but see it works. Like if you see Dale on the bus and then you see him on the video with Q-Tip, it's real. Like you can do it. So that's the first thing. I give it up to my elders. I give it up to the people before me who laid the foundation. It's almost like the foundation of independent hip hop was already laid out in the Bay a certain way for us to follow. Like we had the independent stores. We was the ones hitting the streets out the trunk. We all had that in our head as rappers. So although it was a lot of us that did take off and go to like get signed and stuff, I think our foundation wasn't, it was like our foundation wasn't based on just being signed. Like we already, it's almost like we being so far from New York and from the center, we did study New York hip hop, but we were so far from getting that support, we almost knew we had to build it first, if that makes sense. So we kind of come to these situations already packaged and we already know what we want to do. So it was already like, I don't have to sound just like this to really reach these labels or nothing. Even if I wanted a deal, I still was already kind of building it up already, as opposed to maybe in the olden days or back I look at the old stories like Crush Groove and stuff, and you see how like the labels was really, the older labels, they was really controlling so much back then. And they were trying to, I like that term, acts. I don't like that term, acts. It's like, we need you to be an act. We need you to dress up. It's like we already came after that era of that. So we was like, okay, I guess if we can't dress like them and do it like them over there, we'll package ourselves up and just build it first. So when they were signing Too Short to the label with E40s and the Souls of Mischief, they already had their Oakland thing going and they already knew how they wanted to be. So I think that helped us believe in it. So for me, it's everything, bro. Being independent, not to say, I think it's not the label, it's how an artist, the pride and the bravery they have when they face the higher companies. Like when they come at you, like, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of Bay artists was known for feuding with their label, leaving their label, punking their label, and also refusing to follow the rules. That's how Souls of Mischief got off a job, because they refused to go mainstream. So they did get the fame, they did get the shit on MTV and stuff, but they said, we're recording under the budget we want, we're doing it in Oakland, we're not flying to the East Coast spending extra money. That made pride for us. When they lost their deal, they toured on their own with the Living Legends and stuff. I followed that. That's all I really did. I followed a better example. When we couldn't get a deal, we toured on our own. When we couldn't put it out, we burned CDs. We hit out the trunk. So it's everything. I think that's, if you already an artist thinking, let me succumb to the business people, you already kind of you already selling yourself as to a degree. You already putting yourself in the position to be weaker as an artist, Hey,
like
I hope that's a good reflection on that, because you that sparked something in me, because it means a lot to me, bro. I know artists who got richer off than me and who maybe, got more material, but to be able to still be independent, pass my company on to my son and offer opportunities where I don't have to tell a girl that I'm working with, oh, you gotta dress like Cardi B, or you gotta do this kind of song. I never liked that type of talk. Oh, we gotta be hot. We gotta sound like Drake now. I don't understand or respect that. Like, let them do them, and you gotta find you, and like, I don't really believe a company can make you do something, if that makes sense. I don't think they can make you. I don't think money can control you. You want that money to control you sometimes. You want that sometimes. You know what I'm saying? You can always say, no, I'm not doing that song. I'm not doing that verse. I'm not. You have some choices, so.
Word. And I mean, in the midst of all that, I just wanted to build. Cause I want to give a shout out to the High Rolls, because that's one of my favorite collectors of all time.
It wouldn't be no Rendezvous Records without High Roll.
I mean, and
not at all.
And
we was banging that way back, bro. When it was kind of like a little civil war in the Bay behind, the different styles. It was because the Bay is made up of diversity, kind of like New York is and New Jersey. It's like the diversity is good, but it's like at the time we was all young, so it's competitive. Like, is you with the gangster shit, or is you with the streets, or is you with the mainstream, or is you with the backpack shit, or the conscious shit? But the good thing about the Bay, we slightly figured out how to come together more than fight. Better, for the most part, we figured it out a little bit,
Word. And building, there's a rapport, and there's a responsibility of maintaining integrity on your land, because the Bay has a reputation. Do you know the reputation of the Bay?
Me?
Yeah, do you?
I like to hear it from the outside. I feel like we get a lot of respect, just not we don't get respect in the places that I talked about. The corporate rooms, the places where they want you to sell out and be kind of fall for the okie doke. We're not popular in those spaces, but we popular with the real, I would say, for the most part.
Well, the reputation in the Bay, it goes like this. There's 3 places you have to rhyme. And if they accept you in these 3 places, you're one of the best to ever spit. Those 3 places, those 3 places are Newark, New Jersey. Shout out to Brick City.
Okay.
Detroit, Michigan. Shout out to the
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And the Bay. Those are the 3 areas where if you spit, you say you a lyricist or you can rhyme, those are the 3 areas you have to go to test your game. Because
that makes sense. My only pushback on that, and it's not really a pushback, it's just a geography thing. It's just a geography thing. It's like when you say New Jersey, it's like it's the state, right? It's a state, right? New Jersey's a state. I knew that, but of course y'all got y'all regions. That's the. But I always think of I always think of New Jersey as one of the top lyrical hip hop. It almost is like Oakland and the Bay and New Jersey. I mean, in LA. Cause sometimes I would mix New Jersey MCs up with New York. Cause it's just, I'm not from there. So I forget sometimes cause I'm so used to Redman with EPMD and that. It's like a natural thing. And then Philly too sometimes. Both amazing places, New York, New Jersey, Philly. I'm sure Connecticut got MCs, and I've been up to Massachusetts, New England, they got MCs. But and the thing is, when you say the Bay, it's almost like a New York. It's like a borough. It's almost like a borough system. So it's like, I would say, when you say that, it's like we kind of want to know, where are you talking about in the Bay? Because it ain't, everywhere ain't the same. Where it's this, we do got a thing, but it's like getting into New Jersey. Is it? I know some cats from Orange, and I heard of Newark, and what's the other one? The other big hip hop city out there? Newark, Orange, and another couple.
Well, New Jersey has cities. New Jersey has cities, but we're broken up into counties. So when you say Essex County, you're talking about the Oranges. You're talking about Irvington. You're talking about New York. When you talk about Hudson County, that's Jersey City. And
I heard of Jersey City.
You heard about Middlesex? Trenton? No, Union County. Union County is like Elizabeth, Plainfield.
I've been to a lot of these places, but I don't know the geography as if I can point out on a map. Right. But I've heard of, and then through the hip hop, being a fan. You know what I'm saying?
Well, when we think about the Bay out here.
Yeah, I wonder from an outside perspective, because we all know, most of us know the center of hip hop and Black culture is Oakland off top. That's not really. But then you still got your other. It's just like you got, I guess in New York, you would probably, most people would say it's Brooklyn, right? No, for the center of Black culture and kind of like the.
No.
Damn.
No.
Okay. Well,
no, because see, when it comes to hip hop out in New York, you got to understand, New York City is what I call the Game of Thrones. There are all these different kingdoms, and they all had different identities. Everybody refers to the Bronx. The Bronx is the one with Kool Herc and everybody came out of there.
Well, I know the Bronx is the center, like the origins,
right?
But I mean, like
Brooklyn.
Like
but
usually,
Brooklyn is their own place. Like people say, I'm not from New York. I'm from Brooklyn.
See, that's Oakland. That's Oakland. We're Oakland. That's Oakland. Like that's why I said Brooklyn, because like I guess when I hear the like pride of New York rapping, it's always like it seemed like people kind of have like put like Brooklyn. But like we all know every borough got MCs, and the Bronx is the original. Like we all know that. Right. But like I know when we compare the boroughs of the Bay and the boroughs of New York, most people compare Oakland and Brooklyn. So and then Frisco would be our Manhattan, because that's the center. That's the international hub. Right. You know, that's where you'll find like the tourist attractions, and they got MCs, of course. But you know, New York got Harlem, and then we got San Francisco. But I would think most people, when they think of hip hop in the Bay, they would think of Oakland first. Like that's just how I remember it, and that's how. I don't know too many people who argue with that. That don't mean that everything come out of Oakland. Like we got the Vallejo, E40, Mac Dre. Of course, they got probably the most MCs that they was in the Guinness Book of Records for the most MCs out of like in a square mile radius. And then Frisco's hot right now. Frisco's killing it. Like it's so many like the young generation, they killing it right now. They got all the hits right now. And then we got a lot of the legends coming out of Oakland, you know, you heard of them. And then San Jose, Silicon Valley. That's San Jose. That's what Vampire Network's about. So that's kind of like the area that was kind of not getting like the Staten, or like the Queens, that was kind of like, it's dope cats there, but it ain't enough people really outside of it. Like they wasn't getting included sometimes. And so they started really getting more included during the hyphy movement. And that's part of my homie Trax A Million was a part of that. He was a part of making San Jose like a national city as far as hip hop. People knowing about San Jose, he was one of the biggest. So Vampire Network, I'm actually giving props to San Jose because I used to live there. That's like one of my cities I lived in out here. So it's a good combo because it's the same kind of thing. It's like the areas and the regions you in. So when you say, continue your story about the Bay and those places, I was just wondering, when you say the Bay, remember, that's like saying New York City. Where? You don't forget Richmond, California too. That's a hot spot too. That's a major spot for hip hop, you know.
No doubt. I mean, let's correct me if I'm wrong, because like I said, when we hear the Bay out here, it's a territory. It's not a place for us. It's like,
do you affiliate it with cities, or do you affiliate it geographically too, or do you just know it as not LA?
I don't no. It depends on who you're talking to. Because when you think about the Bay, I know MCs who go back and forth. So
right.
So the MCs I know, when they talk about the Bay, they talk about the ciphers in all the different areas. So that's how we're kind of a little, depending on who you're talking to. Because like when we think about San Francisco, isn't that where Love and Rance is from? And he made the song Up, right?
No, Love Rance is he's from Richmond.
Oh, see, so like I'm saying, like even
Richmond is this is how it's broke down. You got the East Bay. East Bay is Oakland. When you say the East Bay, Oakland is the main city.
Okay.
Then you got Berkeley, Cal Berkeley. That's where a lot of the hip hop history is, like the High Road, Living Legends, that history, the backpack rap history. A lot of us used to congregate in Berkeley by Cal Berkeley. That's the like where all the independent hip hop shops, where you could buy all the independent stuff, where all the DJs shop. That's like the cultural little mecca of the Bay, like kind of like, I guess in New York they say the Village, like I don't know, Soho maybe, I don't know, like it's where the hip hop, like the hippies, the weirdos, the people who like alternative culture, they hang out in Berkeley. And then Oakland, and then Vallejo is up north. That's the North Bay. That's E40, Mac Dre, her, H-E-R, the singer.
Dope.
Her, she's from there. Tabathia, the baseball player.
But
that's
Sabathia.
A small town. It's kind of a small area. It's not a lot of venues, and it's like somewhere where you gotta be from there. Like most of the rappers from Vallejo, they're from there, from certain hoods that are legendary. Like Mac Dre, and before these hoods were like opposite sides of town. Then Frisco is the international hub where you got to fly in. It's the airport.
Chinatown's
like
there, right?
everybody. Like I just came from Korea for the past 3 months. I just got back. So like if I'm out there, most of the time they like, where are you from? I gotta say San Francisco because some part of Oakland and some might not. But then San Jose is the South Bay. So you got East Bay, North Bay, South Bay is Silicon Valley, San Jose. That's where the internet started. And then there's a peninsula that connects to San Francisco from San Jose, which is we call it the Peninsula. That's where Google is, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that, PayPal, all of that is in the Bay. Like all of the headquarters are all in that peninsula between San Jose and San Francisco. So you got rappers from different regions of all of that, like Stanford, the college Stanford, that's over there. So we call that the Tom Brady side. That's the Tom Brady side. That's the Giants, Niner fans. That's you know what I'm saying? And then we the East Bay, we kind of like the East Bay. Like that's the grimy, it's grimy on that side, but like we the Beast Mode side. We the Marshawn Lynch side. And we the Gary Payton side. That's the that's the Edelman side. No offense. I love them. Those are my brothers. Like half of Rendezvous Records is from that area. So, like I'm just explaining that regionally it's similar to what you're talking about in Jersey and New York. So we appreciate that though, the Bay. I just wanted to get from your perspective how other people see the Bay, because things change. But yeah, we are into our hip hop, man. We definitely I could break down for you how each region kind of flows, but I'm sure you know your regions pretty well. But I guess I'm talking more from my era. My era, I'm from the old school era. So I'm also talking from the what they call the golden days era, when it was like it wasn't as developed as it is now. So like maybe now we felt back then like we weren't known for lyrical ability. Like people knew us for Too Shorts and like I'm not saying it like that. I feel that even Too Short had bars, but I'm just saying the way we felt. Like the reason why Souls of Mischief and Hyro really had that battery in their back was because we was always seen as like the West Coast is gangster, but they're not lyrical. So that's where that Razzcats energy comes from. That's where that Alcoholics energy, like, yo, we lyrical too. Like we gonna kill it. Like, so a lot of us took up arms on that behalf because we was like, hold on, like y'all think we only can do the slow flow? Like y'all think we can only, like we supposed to be inferior? Like, so a lot of us in the 90s, we took a kind of a offense to that. So we was like, nah, we gonna bar out like the East Coast rappers. So that made a little bit of a civil war in the Bay like that, because it's like, no, you don't have to like Love Ranch. He's still loved. He not no Most Def bar out type rapper. But he's loved because he do our type of music. He do our type of party music. But Love Ranch is a cool dude. He a young dude. I fuck with Love Ranch. But you gotta understand, he part of a crew. He part of a crew like Wu-Tang called the Heartbreak Crew. So they more like party music. They make like hits. They got songs with like mainstream hits. Like that's a big hit. Like, so we got different vibes and styles. I wouldn't put them in the category of like trying to be on the backpack circuit. But they can rap. They got bars. You feel me? They do their thing, but they more hood party music. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask a question. Wait. Is Pac Div from that area, or they from somewhere else?
Pac Div is from Southern Cali. They from, I believe, LA. They from that. They from Southern California. We call it NorCal and SoCal. Right. From SoCal. SoCal would be like Los Angeles, LA, Compton, Hollywood. Like all that is SoCal. We're NorCal. The Bay, Sacramento, Fresno would be kind of in the middle. Like, So the way we do it, we say NorCal, Central Cali, and Southern Cali. So that's how we do it. Jersey.
That's just how Jersey broke it down.
We break it down like that. You was telling a story about something with the regional thing though. What was that? Oh, about the places you got to spit. That's an honor. That's an honor.
We in Jersey, we always hold the Bay up here because a lot of our legends go out there and they say, yo, the Bay was the realest spot I ever been to. And they talk about always traveling and doing battles. Because some of the famous battles I heard about was the Outsiders going out there to battle. And then I also heard about a famous battle between Fat Lip and Catastrophe from Alcohol.
I heard about that. I didn't see that. I probably was pretty young when that happened. I was in high school probably when that happened. Those are two of my favorites and my homies. I toured with the Alcoholics before, and I did some shows with Fat Lip after Far Side split or whatever. I'm cool with mostly all the Far Side, but like I didn't really roll with them at the time they was together. I kind of met them later when they was already kind of doing their own thing. But they fuck with the Bay a lot. Like they got a lot of love. Like I remember they was in the I Got 5 on the video. I tripped off that because the Loonies is from I'm from East Oakland, so I grew up. That was one of my favorite groups. But it's like, see, the Bay was mixing genres. It was dope. Like it's like the Loonies was mixing it all up because they had the lyrical shit, the gangster shit, but they was also funny. They was doing the silly shit that we was like, like, so even though I wasn't really like a huge gangster rap fan, they was breaking the stories down so funny. I was like, shit. Whereas Spice One, he's serious with his. Like he ain't cracking no jokes. He's straight to the K. So, you know, that's what I meant by the divisions of the sounds. It's not really the friendships were solid. We all was cool. It's just the sounds. Some people didn't like some people chose one or the other. They didn't always like both. So you might be dope, but like if your sound ain't that sound. And another thing I'll say about the Bay is we're very open-minded to other regions. Like we're very inviting. Whereas I would say LA is a little less inviting than, and some of my New York friends say, you know, New York's not as inviting even to itself or even to its neighbors. We're very inviting. Like it's a lot of rappers like Pac who came to the Bay and lived in the Bay and was accepted as part of the Bay. And without it being territorial, some rappers to the point where you didn't even know they was from somewhere else. Like Too Short, I don't know if you knew this, he's not originally from Oakland. He's from LA. But nobody cares about that because once you come to the Bay, you're family. We embrace you. You don't hear a whole lot about out of town rappers getting killed in the Bay or like getting rolled on or robbed. That we're not really on that. Like you can come and do your thing as long as it's all love. You know, usually you hear about that, no offense, but you usually hear about that type of stuff in LA where rappers come and it's real out there. So we're a little more of the open for friendly, let's unite people, let's make money together. That we wasn't really in the East-West thing like that. Like the East-West Coast beef wasn't really our thing. That was people think it was, that was more of an LA thing.
Well, you know what? I need to come out to the Bay then, because I want to spread heritage hip hop love everywhere. You know
please, hey, we already doing it. We already spreading it. Come, please do, bro. We love it. And you know what? We love New Jersey. We love New Detroit. We soak up game from everywhere, and we open everywhere. In LA too, we love LA. We fuck with Seattle. We really like one of the best things about Bay artists. We're fine with being nomads. We like to move around and sharing with different cities and we're cool with that, but we always bring our Bay culture with us, you know, but it's never to shit on nobody else's culture. We just, you know, one thing is we don't, like you come to the Bay, you hear Kick the Sneak, you hear Zion, you hear Jay-Z and you hear Beyonce, but then you'll hear her and you'll hear Guapole. You're gonna hear it all. We accepting of independent artists. A lot of independent artists, their music get broke here first. Well, like a lot of people don't know that. This is a place where artists get broken into the industry. Then the rest of the industry run with the other playlists, pick it up later. You feel me? Even Ebro's from the Bay.
Yeah, I know
Ebro from Hot 97 from the Bay.
I know. But you know what's dope for me? You know what made me like the Bay music even more as I matured in my hip hop ear? I bought a mixtape. And the mixtape had the Federation on it. I got that album, by the way.
My dogs, the Fed gang. Yeah.
And they had a song. Man. They had a song called Hyphy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the version of the song I heard had Big L on it.
What? Oh, hold on. So it was like the beat was hyphy. The beat was the hyphy beat, but song, Big L had
but it had a Big L verse that opened up the song, and then the song came on.
Oh, I love shit like that.
Damn, I think that was a DJ. That was a DJ Vlad mixtape, as a matter of fact.
That's where Vlad is from here. Vlad is from here.
So now that we talked about
Vlad as the DJ Vlad,
right,
not the DJ Vlad TV. We knew him as the DJ.
Right. So not that we talked a lot about the Bay, and shout out to everybody watching. This is Karev, Heritage Hip Hop with DLabrie on the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and join this podcast movement, because we getting some good game right here in Jules. Because if you did not know about the Bay, now you know. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I get into it, man. It's a lot of good things to talk about, you know. And it's funny because I'm not saying I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I was maybe back in the day when I started rapping, I would maybe be the unlikely spokesman for the Bay, because I was so into New York rap, and I was determined to travel and tour and go everywhere. And I wasn't really trying to be the face of the Bay. Like my sound wasn't like trying to really sounding like people used to tease me and be like, you don't even sound like an Oakland rapper. And I used to take that as a compliment back then, because I felt they was saying I wasn't like, I had a different style, I was more lyrical or whatever. I was repping that side of Oakland. But now I feel pride in being from Oakland, but I also feel pride in being different. Like my difference, just like I said, seeing the J. Cole's and the Kendricks and the Rhapsody success, I feel proud because we was riding for that. Like I'm not as big as them, but I'm one of those people who saw success from from rapping the same way I rapped before. Like I didn't necessarily have to switch it up and go mainstream, this and that. I could do what I do now the same way I did then. And so that's kind of why I like had a pride now, because they still embraced me even though I was different, and my difference end up being respected later. Like, hey, you did that for so long, man. We see you. You rapped Oakland that way. Like you ain't fake with it. You did your thing. So hood niggas will have your back when you lyrical after, even if they don't at first, they start to, if you ride it out, take a few, you know.
So let's talk about your song "Be Myself."
Okay.
That's one of the songs that I heard where it really was about being good with you while others are being good with themselves. Am I correct?
Man, that's crazy that I just kind of was touching on how I had to find myself kind of. Mm-hmm. Like, and Be Myself was the culmination of that. Like, this is Mr. Network 2 is gonna be my biggest album by far. Like, and it's like I traveled and did all this since the beginning. All my dreams as a kid led up to this album. Because at first it all led up to part 1, Mr. Network 1. It's a trilogy. So I'm just dropping part 2. And Be Myself, with the way I approached Mr. Network 2, Mr. Network 1 was about me from a boy to a man. It's about all these things I'm telling you in the past of me coming up, wanting to be a rapper, being an underground rapper in Oakland in the gangster rap era. Like, it's just my story as a man, as a young man to a younger man, to an older man. Or though I say from a young boy to a young man. That's the story. Part 2 was like, this is, okay, we fought this hard, we worked our way in the game, and now we were winning. We're touring, we're traveling, we got some songs on the radio, we moving, we got DJs playing our shit. And so when I started making it, it wasn't like when I made part 1. Part 1 was I was like, man, I gotta tell this story. I had a chip on my shoulder. And so I was really like not trying to make nothing but serious songs on part 1. And my producer, he's a band player. Infinite, he did the bulk of part 1. He's a like musician. So he would like be like, D, bro, like, I know you do the political stuff and you work with kids and I had that political side, but I was a party, bro. I was a fun dude. Like I was a wild dude. Like I wasn't really like I was kind of like doing it all. Like I was in the clubs partying, you know, with the ladies. I was in the streets a little bit, like not like saying it like that, but I'm from the deepest, darkest hoods of Oakland. So I had those ties too. And I guess I would get confused because when I would go around people in a rap way, people like to stereotype you quick. So it's like, okay, if you spitting those type of backpack bars, you can't be doing this or you can't be doing that. It's like pigeonholing a little bit. I was never easy to pigeonhole. So when I did, so it kind of made it difficult for my career sometimes, because when I first started making songs that DJs was playing, like how we talking about hip hop now, like it was more serious back then. Because if you drop knowledge on a song, then you drop a song where you talking about dancing and partying and sexy girls, people would be more upset back then. So I guess, you know, when that happened, a lot of my underground fans started turning on me sometimes. They'll be like, oh man, I thought you was for this part of hip hop. And then when I get a little song popping, they'd be mad. So it was a lot of that in my career. Like the hyphy movement, that was an issue for me because hyphy was seen as something that was bringing the Bay culture, the hood culture out in the forefront. So it wasn't really a whole lot of room. It wasn't really a purist movement. It was an energy movement. So even though we from the town, like you didn't really hear no hyphy songs from Souls of Mischief but the love was there. So it would just be like when BET had hyphy day, they had a whole day for Hyro, but they still rapped the same way. They didn't do no hyphy music. So it was more of a love thing more than a change your music thing. But for some reason, the hyphy movement, I just got so involved in it because like I'm from Oakland and I was like, I had those relationships with the artists that was blowing up in that time. And so I had collabs with them and like, I knew how to make, like even if I made a club song, it would still be lyrical. It would still be like on par with hip hop. So it wasn't ever no backlash over the music. It was just the fans. The fan bases would clash. Cause like, they'll be like, oh, like now you ain't coming around the ciphers no more. You ain't coming around the open mics. Now you at the club and got like 3 girls on you and you over here with Mr. Fab and you over here with, but this like, they don't know I grew up. I'm from these cities. Like I knew these people already. Like it wasn't like my sound, it wasn't like I was trying to sound Bay or trying to sound mainstream. I just knew how to make music and I enjoyed it. But when I did part 1, I had so many serious songs. My producer said, man, you too much fun to make all these depressing, serious songs. So he was like, hey, why don't you do a few songs that have an upbeat, like you like to party. Like I heard a few of your club songs, they popping. Why don't you do a few of these? So he helped me balance. I wasn't used to making albums like that. So when I made part 2, after part 1 came out and it did what it did, when I made part 2, I felt that relief. Like I was like, now people kind of get it. Now people kind of see who I am and who I've been trying to show all these years. I'm not trying to be one style. I'm just me. And so I had released the videos. Since Mr. Network's like a visual audio thing. It was like, I was trying to make each video like a Michael Jackson video, like a little film. So when I did part 2, I felt loose. I felt like comfortable. I felt like I could just rhyme my natural way. So Be Myself was like that. Be Myself and my other single Up was like, that's my pure rap style, if that makes sense. And so it wasn't like I had, like a lot of times I go with the beat. I go with the beat and the vibe. So when I hear a song, I'm kind of like now I've developed to a songwriter. So when I heard the beat to Be Myself, my brain just started writing. It was just like, wherever I need to be, you can sneak a peek on SoundCloud. You know what I'm saying? It's just an automatic MC thing, like I'm freestyling. Because I used to rap like that too, like without the paper. A lot of my shit, like now I use the paper because I got too many raps in my head. But when I'm the type, when I hear the beat, I already writing a hook in 5 seconds. Like I don't need to think too hard or like, you know what I mean? Like I don't even write hooks at all. Like if I got a hook, usually I just rap it right then. And then once I got the hook and concept, it's just like, it just, the beat spoke to me. It was just like, wherever I need to be, you can sneak a peek. San Pablo like Pete with my new freak elite. D Black like Eat the Cat. I beast the track. Feast off rap, peace trees back to back. OC's X, believe that. Where you from? The dumb one. You know, it's just automatic. So that song, it kind of brought all the styles of mine together because I'm just really talking about the diversity of DLabrie and just, I don't give a fuck no more. Like, I'm not doing this no more. This explaining myself and trying to explain why every song ain't deep and about Black Power and how every song ain't this and why I'm like, it's just too much explaining, man. My life, I felt, was an explanation enough. And that's what Mr. Network 2 was. It was like, no more playing around and trying to get acceptance and trying to prove my way into hip hop. This is me, DLabrie's here. I don't give a fuck what you think. I'm gonna be myself. And anybody who knows me or knew me ever knows that's DLabrie to the fullest. And I don't mean that in a fuck what you think or fuck what you feel way. I'm not that kind of guy. But I'm just like, I'm always comfortable doing my thing, even if it's off, if it's going against the river. It's not always fun. It's not always the most, it can be lonely sometimes and it can be a lot of misunderstandings, but I always been cool with that. So that, I really had a lot of fun. The first half of Mr. Network 2 that I did was really done in pure love of the music. So I don't know if you got to check out Up. That's the first single from Network 1, the Network 2, and Be Myself. Those were like the first 2 or 3 songs I did. Vampire came way later. Like that really was like an extra song I did. And I'll explain that later. But Be Myself and Up. And then I actually did some songs with this producer from New York. He worked with Method Man, Jadakiss, what's his name? D-Block, Vinny Idol. I did some tracks with him. And I just had fun with the early part of Mr. Network 2, and then I did the deeper, more like autobiographical songs later. So I did it backwards. I did it the opposite way. So like that, where Mr. Network 1, I did all these deep songs first, and then I kind of filled it in with the funner, more chill songs. And then later, and this one I did the opposite. So when I did Be Myself, I was just enjoying hip hop, man. Like that's more of my purest style of rap. And it's hard because I need the beat. Like I need the beat to be that way, to make it that way. And so we about to drop that video. We've been working on that video. It's like a short film we did in Korea during the pandemic. So it's like a little film that kind of shows what I've been doing in Korea over the years. Because I already had Up to show what I've been doing in Japan. So this one was to show all these things I've been doing in Korea over the years, because I've been expanding Rendezvous Records to Asia, and Korea is my home base. So that video is almost done. I'm actually working on the final edits and the post-production so we can drop that like ASAP. So yeah, I don't know any other questions you had about that track, but it's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites I've done for the second album. And it was an early one, so it really pumped me up for the album in general. I was like, this album gonna be fired because I did this song. Because at the end of the day, no matter how you see me as an artist, like you see Vampire, like I was joking with MJ how that's like, I kind of was like, damn, I hope people don't think I'm just like this reckless ass, horrorcore, evil ass dude. But like at the same time, I wanted to start the album with the songs that's most like the most purest form of my style. Be Myself is one of those. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we excited about that video, man. Like this, it's really a short film. It's gonna be a lot of fun to drop that and give a new dimension of what I've been doing out there. Because a lot of people curious, like, because I started going to Asia when it was no social media. There was barely even instant message. We was barely tapping into email back then. So I was out there with the disposable cameras, like for real. So that might be what really was my biggest storyline that kind of catapulted me and set me apart a little as in the group of artists I was in. It kind of gave me an identity, because they was like, bro, you ain't signed, this is how you end up there selling records. Like it was really just a random accident in a way. So that gave me a little something different than to just be competing for the best rapper in the Bay. Like it gave me something for people to say, oh, he must have did something right if he getting fans out there and he ain't even on MySpace yet. I'm proud of that, bro. To rap Oakland in Japan when it ain't, I don't know who was rapping in Asia like me for Oakland before me, other than you know, of course, Hammer and Souls of Mischief and them and Hyro, they was big in Japan. Wu-Tang was big in Japan, but this was 2000. This was 2001, 2002. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to an underground Oakland rapper to be out there, that was pretty dope. You feel me? That was an ill, that boosted my confidence to say I could really do this. Like, I can really do this for real. Before that, I was still wondering how far I can go, but it was like, boo, it was like, but you know why? Because everybody came at me like that. Once I came back, everybody was like, bruh, get on this show. Hey, get on this feature. Hey, let's do a better album. Like, it was like, oh, like we want to, like managers was coming. Everybody was coming at me after that. So I was like, okay, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? It's official, it's real.
Well, we only have a little bit of time left. So I want to run through a couple questions with you, and then I'm going to play the rapid fire questions with you, all right?
Okay.
So
I try to keep it shorter and sweeter because I get to rambling.
Yeah, it's all good. So everybody out there, look, this is a classic because not only did I ain't had to ask a lot of questions, but we got a lot of jewels. So thank you.
Man, I appreciate it, man. I told this one interviewer yesterday, when I used to do my early interviews, I used to get so frustrated because they'll ask me these questions and they'll cut me off in like 10 seconds because I didn't have no class, I didn't have no resume. So they'll be like, hey, you get 5 words. They'll be like, all right, so where did you start rapping? I'm like, I'm from Oakland. Okay, so where's your next single? Get out of here. Like, so I'm like, I'm thankful for every second y'all give me, man.
No doubt. One of my favorite songs from you is It Ain't Easy. I love that song. That song.
Thank you, bro.
And being that it's Black History Month, everybody who haven't heard the song, It Ain't Easy, one of the most spectacular lines in the song is when the young lady says, "We are the descendants of the Panthers."
Right.
And I think that's part of.
That's Kiana Selena.
Salute. That's part of the things I love about Cali history that's lost. Because when you think about the Panthers, you think about the movie Panther. We talked about how the Black Panther started in California.
Right. I told you my mom was a part of that. My mom, I grew up, my uncle, we descendants. Like, you know the rapper, the Jacka?
Yeah.
That passed away. That's my boy. He's one of my best friends. You might have seen my song with him and Dead Prez. Yeah. He's a descendant of Huey Newton. His name's Dominique Newton. So we're like literal descendants. That's what she was trying to say. I think Kiana got some family that's descendants. All of us knew somebody. I still know those guys. I still know Bobby Seals. Like, I hang out with him and we talk politics. Like, it's that deep. So
like I was saying, that essence of Cali is not highlighted enough. Bay. Or the Bay.
That's a Bay essence right there.
But it's a California story, I mean. So
true,
pardon me.
Northern California story.
But the Bay. And,
right.
And when we think about the Panthers, we think about the Bay, and then it jumps to Fred Hampton.
Yes, that's Fred Hampton Jr. is my dog too. I roll with him. That's my guy.
And then over here in Jersey, we have our own Black Panther Party, the new Black Panther Party, and the Black Panthers that led to a lot of our Head Starts. And I'm a preschool teacher through a Head Start. So
Head Start. I used to work with AmeriCorps. So we used to work with Head Start. I was in City Year AmeriCorps. Respect, bro.
So as you see, the Panthers are an elite American story, not just in a state. Cause that movement of the free lunch and the schooling and doing for yourself led to a lot of the schools to prepare children for what was called elementary school education, right?
Right.
They gave them a head start to the game.
Exactly.
And then after the original Panthers left, the descendant lineage is clearly forgotten about because people don't hear. And hip hop is also a part of the Panther lineage because it was the voice of the people who weren't getting heard.
Right.
Finally being able to tell their story.
Right.
One of the most important questions I wanted to ask you about from this interview is this. What kind of burden is it to be a direct descendant of an elite American story of brown people and not being able to tell your story the way it should be, because even the people who are in control of hip hop are stopping you from being the kings and queens or the descendants of greatness that you are when it comes to telling the story over a beat?
I just think, you know, I always tell people, like, Oakland is like it's like the rebels of America. Like, we like the rebels of America. I'm not saying nowhere else is, but I say we have always shown and been taught rebellion, revolution. A lot of our everything we live and do, like the way our hip hop scene developed is because of that. The way Too Short did his Out the Trunk is because of that. The way a lot of the Bay is about independent business. Even like the way these tech companies coming in, it's a lot of resistance here. Like, I used to grow up and there'd be tanks and army helicopters downtown Oakland, and there'd be protests, and you could just be chilling and it could be tear gas spraying and people you know, we really grew up with people strong arming the radio, strong arming the politicians. So, like, we're in a place where a Black Panther actually became the mayor. You know what I'm saying? Ron Dellums. It was a lot of issues. He was the mayor during the Oscar Grant shit, and a lot of people was unhappy with that. So it's so much a part of who we are here. So, like, I guess in a sense, what we represent is we never felt that way. I don't even know how to be silenced. Like, I don't know how to fear whites. I don't know how to fear the voice of the people. I don't know how to fear like that. Like, I had to go to the South. We didn't grow up in a place where whites confront you to your face like that. So, like, we're kind of like the safe zone for a lot of things. Like, even though there's racism here, it's more covert. It's more like they put it in the policies because it's not as bold out here. So I guess it makes us really, it's like, I guess we feel we have the right to say it. Like, we don't feel that way, but being that way, it trips me out when I realize how sometimes we call ourselves somewhat of a utopia, because we are a safe place for Black people. We are a safe place. And a lot of times when we talk about, like, if you come here, we talk about the East Bay and stuff, like, it's a lot of whites and Asians who ride with us, and it's a lot of multicultural unity where, you know, we're used to that. So, like, when we deal with white people here, it's like, they're like, yeah, we don't understand white people from there that's hating on Blacks and stuff like that. Like, we ride with y'all and y'all ride with us. So, and knowledge of history and things like the Black, like, it's not as sensitive. Like, when you speak out, it's not like this, oh my God, you reverse racist. It's not as much of that here. So we always say we live in a utopian sometimes, because when we go other places, we like, oh, Black people really facing like real opposition here. Like even LA, like when Kiana, she's one of my artists from Rendezvous Records, one of my best friends, she's the first lady of RDV. She moved to LA and she's doing intense organizing and work against police violence. And she's just like, it's not unified the same as the Bay. Like, the cultural division's a little harsher. Like, the Black and brown unity is a little different. Like, it's not a beef between Black and brown out there. Even amongst Blacks, they don't have the same type of Panther history. They have like a lot of gang jail history down there. It's really territorial. So I guess the way I feel as an artist is that we supposed to, like, if you're fighting culturally and you don't have pride, you gotta have I always tell everyone, you gotta have the pride first. Like, if you don't have pride in being Black or in the things that Blacks went through, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself as being Black, but like just being Black. But I'm saying, even to be like to love other cultures, if you got these things in your mouth where you're not going to speak about the injustices that led us to this, even as a rapper, like, I can't just speak on rappers who talk about like things that like street violence and jail, and I can't throw them under the bus every time I go speak on a panel at Stanford. Like, I can't go in front of these wealthy People from the suburbs who parents pay for it and just throw rap under the bus like that. We got to talk about the way it got this way. And they didn't want a whole bunch of Tupacs and Lauryn Hills. Like, they didn't want a whole bunch of Oaklands. They didn't want a whole bunch of New Jerseys. Like, they wanted more people to be a little afraid to talk. Like, I going to the South, I remember my first time really doing shows and touring through the South. When I went to Atlanta, I'm thinking Atlanta, like, T.I. and 2 Chainz and Outkast, and man, I never got called the N-word so many times in my life by racist whites. Not the I said it to be a friend way. I'm talking about like the way. And it didn't even matter. Like, when I heard the word, it was like, this is normal. Even Nevada, it's like, this is normal. Like, Vegas and Reno, like, them cops will lay you down, bro. Like, it's not like we got some faulty stuff, but like here in Oakland, the cops, man, if they see a black dude with no seatbelt and with 3 white girls and he look dangerous, they might just keep going. They ain't trying to play with that. Like, it's a healthy fear of us here. Like, they might not take that chance. So when I could be in Oakland and stand up and talk like this. Like, I can stand up and be like, fuck the police. And like, some police will be like, yeah, I feel you. You know what I'm saying? That's just where I'm from. So like, we had to learn some humbleness too, because it's easy for us to talk like that. And that made me give more respect to the ones who stood up for us. Because if the Black Panthers and all, it's not just the Black Panthers, but if they hadn't stood up like that, there wouldn't be that healthy fear to not fuck with, like my grandmother had to fight to get my uncles and aunts and dad into all white Catholic schools. Like it was segregation here too, but like it was a lot of fighting going on. So my reason is I feel we have to honor that. We can't take for granted that there is a choice somewhere and there is places where speaking up and fighting and having a pride can lead to a better future. So to me, it's if we're like in the music industry scared to talk, if you rapping because you like when rappers be like, man, if you talk about Black power and the struggle, and then they ain't really gonna play that. Like I never felt that. Like I never felt like that. I feel like you still can get your props, and there's plenty of people who want to hear it. And it's not even, I don't even do it because people want to hear it. I just feel it's part of life you have to talk about. Like, what? Anybody that's even not Black, how can they come to our music for us to tell them our truth? So I just feel like it's just part of how it should be. And I try to inspire brothers, even if they didn't grow up with around the Panthers or around politics, or maybe they don't really know enough to speak like that. Or some people ain't read hella books and, they ain't had that benefit to like go to grow up with parents like Kanye's or Talib Kweli's. We have to be conscious of that too. But I feel like I'm in the middle. You feel me? Like I'm from the public schools in the hood, and then I got family in Catholic schools. I got professional family. I got family in the streets. So I always feel like when you do have that chance, you have to be a bridge. Like you have to embrace and say, look, bro, I support you telling your story. Like that's what I do. I mess with rappers, and I'll be honest, a lot of the hood rappers support me the most. And a lot of them do support artists and the mind state of the smart people that's trying to make change. They just don't rap about it sometimes. And sometimes that's because they're just being respectful. Why would I rap about something I can't outspeak? Like, I'm not gonna come, like if you just an ignorant thug from the street, you're not gonna come try to out-talk Malcolm X. You're just gonna let him talk and you gonna ride for him. But what I found is amongst a lot of hip hop intellectuals, sometimes that be the fight. Because it's like, who's the most revolutionary? Who's the most conscious? And as the organizer in Hip Hop Congress, I found a lot of times it'd be a lot of talk from a lot of conscious artists. Like not all of them, but either you live this or you don't. Like you gotta live it or you don't. Like a lot of conscious artists I heard rap about it, but I always respect the ones who live it and do things. Like I respect rappers who work with kids, who raise their own kids, who, if you went to jail, go back and speak at jails. And I'll be the first to be the one, like, put me in the jail to talk. Like, I've been in jail here and there. I'm not somebody who did, crazy time in prison, but like, I'll go back. I'll risk my life to go speak in the jail. I've done it, juvenile hall. So I feel like it's about engaging. Like, engaging artists, like, you are right. It's a responsibility. Once you learn it, once you learn a better way, I do think it's a responsibility, but it's also a responsibility of us that have learned it to keep that door open and not just throw the people that's struggling, because a lot of people just don't know what they don't know. Like, they really don't. Like, they really don't. And if we just make them feel ignorant, it's like, why would they want to hear any knowledge from somebody? So that's how I approach rap too. I look at it like, Vampire Network, when we did that, it's like, I got horrorcore fans. I got fans that like to just go into that world. Like, they might not really be like killers or they might not really be like that. But like, it's like anime. You feel me? And when my artist YDMC got into when he got into my crew, he had a lot of that in him. He had a lot of that type of rap in him. He had a lot of fans in that world. So they embrace us. So if they come out, they know I'm DLabrie. They know I'm not Tech 9, but they still, I fuck with Tech 9 too. So I look at it like that. Like, Tech 9 might rap about horrorcore stuff, but he does a lot of good. He gave a lot of jobs. As long as when you're asked this question, you can articulate it and make it make sense. And I know conscious rappers who just talk, man, you ain't heard that new, man, we need to hear that old Public Enemy. And it's like, but you say, hey, come out and do this class with these kids. And they're just like, no, I ain't going to that hood. It's hard for me to respect that. Like, like you a preschool teacher. I got to respect you even asking me that. You know what I'm saying? But I've worked at schools too. And some people, because I rap, they just can't fathom that. You approach me already as an intellect to intellect. But I tell people sometimes, you talking to me about this song I did at 21, where I said something about partying, but I actually work with kids. I actually have kids, and I actually don't advocate for violence or like things like that. But you don't always want to make it like us versus them. It's like, I don't always need credit because I feel I'm doing what you should do. But what am I doing to help others do it? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times what I do is, I get the hood niggas on the deep songs. I get the cats that everybody hate on that think they too gangster. It's a lot of cats like the Jacker. He's such a good dude. He's done so much for the community, but he ain't gonna brag about it. He ain't gonna be out there like, man, I said the big words. I read this book. He listens. He hear you. I said, hey, Jack, man, I know about it. We know how you get down. We know where you're from, but who's listening when those artists say, I want to change, I want to get back, I want to do something more? And that's where I think the Bay comes in, because us having that background, I think we can pull, we embrace that nationwide. We go to people with that energy. And that's why I think there's a love there that and that's everywhere. That connects all our communities. There's people like that everywhere. So it can't always be a rap conflict. Like, Atlanta versus Florida and Chicago versus Seattle. It's like, that don't work. It gotta be like, when we go to each other's cities, that's what Hip Hop Congress is about. Let's organize amongst our cities, not just organize hip hop versus rap, not just organize conscious versus gangster rap. Like, those terms kind of played out, but I don't even know, man. It seems like the genres are more mixed up now. But what we do have is, what I'm noticing is, I got no problem with drill rap. If that's what you're living through in Chicago, and you got to talk about it, and that's how you speak, and that's how people really dying, and you got to get on that and talk about it, and that's real. But it's the way the media, or the way that the way it's sold sometimes. Like, maybe it's the technique now. Maybe it's not the labels just anymore. It's the way Facebook shows it, the way Instagram, even some podcasters, or the way they do the highlights. It's like, damn, like, these guys are telling real stories. So like, I don't like that part of it, where it's like, it's sold as hype. Like, you can't fault the guys really going through it. And it's not to be really laughed at that people is dying and stuff. Like, it's like, it's not the whole story of hip hop. And so I look at it like the way it's sold to the buying public who like to just look. It's like we all so obsessed with looking online and seeing a horror story, seeing somebody get shot in an alley. We all saw that before, but it's like now it's like it's cheered on. It's like if for instance, if a rapper that's famous argue with his kid mom online, it's a joke. It's funny. That's what I'm not really for all that, bro. Like I lived through all that, but I got kids and stuff. I've been through that. It's hard, man. It's like real consciousness is just embracing people's struggles, man. That's really what it's about, man. Like it's just unfortunate to me that everything become. I like to laugh and spoofs and jokes and comedy, but it's not funny all the time when somebody's getting shot or when somebody's beefing. It's not entertainment to me. Like, you know, I understand we got to tell the news, but like, I'm not sitting here just thrilled to hear about, you know, everybody likes everybody's beef. It's like it's being played upon. And I think that's even more so than the music now. Now, if we want to get into my issues with the music, that's a whole nother story, because it's like the art seems to be being challenged too. Like, it's like the art level that it took to kind of go through the process of making music, which required thought. You know, just, it's one thing when people say mumble rap. I don't like to categorize like that. But when people say that, it's one thing. But like when I listen for myself and I just hear a bunch of rambling, it's not about your accent. It's the rambling of like, where are we getting at? What are we getting at here? Are we leading people right back to nonsense every time? Like, how many rappers like that do we need? That at 100 rappers, how many out of 100 do we need to be rambling nonsense? That's what I look at. Like, from the hook to the verse to the concept, and then you got the Kendricks and the J. Coles, and you like, okay. And it's like, and you got, I rock with like some of the hardest rappers, the new ones. I like 21 Savage, but he makes sense. He makes sense to me sometimes. I don't think I would expect him to be exactly like a KRS-One, but like, he's saying, yo, I'm young, I've been through this. Now I'm doing something, and I'm trying to help end violence. I'm trying to give back. I'm trying to teach. You can't expect a cat go from 19, 14 in a gang and broke to you know what I'm saying, to Malcolm X, and to be automatic. Like we can't do that. Like, we can't expect too much too fast. Our people still got a lot of struggles. So that's the little thing I think you can do as an artist is, if you got the knowledge, you know, just try to engage people, not just preach to them, but engage them. Like, you know, bring some of the toughest guys that might be in shootouts tonight to a positive experience. Like, or, you know, like I try to get dudes off the street and get them jobs at places like Head Start and places like AmeriCorps, or like, you know, we can do a lot of little things, but it's just, I never liked the cool factor, man. The cool factor, I think, is a problem a lot in our community. The cool factor is not that cool sometimes. You know, it's not, and a lot of cats will tell you that. Having kids and taking care of them, being cool with the mother, that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It ain't cool to be just always mad at the other side of town. It ain't cool to just, you know, it's cool. It's cool to party. That's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with partying. But partying to go beef, partying to just show off, that really ain't it. Like, you know, we know that. Like, some of the smartest people had the best parties. Like, they might be sitting up in there, they might be sipping on something, but they talking about world change and outer space and calculus. That's fun, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know, like, let's learn something. Like, it's just fun, man. Like, I don't know, man, you know. But at the same time, I am happy to see what hip hop has. It has the potential. It has given options. And I do like that. I do like that the fact folks can tell their story if they choose to tell it how they want to tell it and they're not in control. I do think there's a degree of that now too, where these youngsters are like more in control of their own stuff. Maybe not in the platform, But you know, you can go live. You can say what you want. You can put your stuff out on your own. And I think this generation does have a better sense of ownership of their own images and stuff. And that's why they keep trying to flip it on us. That's why you get now we can't sell records. We got to stream it now. Like, we got to get 2 cents on the dollar. And so I like how some of these youngsters have taken like I said, how you took a Rhapsody style and made it mainstream famous, Grammy winning. I like that. I think that's more possible now because like Tupac and Nas don't got no Grammys. Like, so you know what I'm saying?
Nas got one.
Nas got one now.
Yeah, but unfortunately we've come to the end of our time.
My bad, man.
It's all good. So this is what I want you to do. Give everybody your social media and let them know how they can find you and your music.
Social media, at DLabrie, DLabrie on Instagram. I do a lot on Snapchat, DLabrie EOG. Most of my stuff is under that name, DLabrie, DLabrie. Twitter, at DLabrie. DLabrie.com, that's my website. We on TikTok now. We got DLabrie TikTok. What else? Facebook deactivated me. I don't know. I might have been talking too much deep shit. What else? You can hit me on we said Instagram, Snapchat, my website. What's the other main one? What am I forgetting, bro?
Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook,
Instagram, Twitter,
and that's it. YouTube
at DLabrie. And then DLabrie.com, of course. Oh, YouTube, my bad. Watch all my videos on YouTube, youtube.com/DLabrie3. And also all my singles and all my catalog all my new singles are up on Spotify, on all streaming sites. Vampire Network featuring Tracks a Million, Kung Fu Vampire, up. The video is out, filmed in Japan. Be Myself, Baby Love, and the album Mr. Network 2 is coming early in the spring of 2022, probably April 22nd. That's the date we're looking at. So check that out. Check out all my videos, youtube.com/DLabrie3. And they call me Mr. Network. I'm easy to find. Come check out the show. I'm gonna probably be rocking in the US, some US shows for the next couple months, and then I'm heading back overseas for a few months in the summer. I'll probably hit up South by Southwest. I hope to be in Jersey soon, or the East Coast at some point, man. Come tap in with my brothers out there.
Let's do that.
Big love to Heritage Hip Hop, man. I really appreciate it. I wish we could have got to the other ones, but we're gonna do this again.
Of course.
Other questions, we'll go back through the rapid fire next time.
No, we're gonna do that tonight. Oh no, we're gonna do it tonight.
Let's do it.
Everybody out there, thank you for paying attention and watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe, the like, the share, the comment, and most importantly, stay tuned. The rapid fire questions are not yes/no questions. These are questions designed to show the intellect of the artist and the depth of knowledge he has on his chosen art form and genre. You ready to go?
Let's go.
All right. Question number 1. What song or album from another artist perfectly describes you?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm gonna have to go with. Oh, I don't want to take the easy one on that one. But I'm gonna have to say. Let's go. Let's go with 93 Till Infinity.
Ooh, okay.
Let's go with that, because that's my favorite group. That's the song that changed my life and it made me really want to be an artist, and they my big homies from my same hood. So I'm gonna go with 93 Till Infinity, because just the title is their title, but the song vibe is just everything I see as an MC, and the beat, and it just feels like life.
Classic. And shout out to the High Road and shout out to Souls of Mischief, because I'm gonna tell you now, never no more. Never no more.
I could have said that one. See, I could have said that one.
That's my joint right there.
I could have said a lot of Souls of Mischief songs, but
yeah,
I'm gonna just go with 93 Chill, because 93 is the year that's when I really got that. I bought that tape in Eastmont Mall, and I was actually went to school with A+. And but I was still a freshman. I was up and coming. And that's when I decided I'm gonna be a rapper. When I heard that album, I already was rapping. I was already dabbling. Like I was a fan. I was listening before that I was listening to Poe Righteous and KRS and Gangstar, and I grew up in the Bay, so I heard all the Bay, Too Shorts and all. Hammer, I was a big Hammer fan. But that's when I said, this will be my career. In 1993, that album came out and I went to school and I said, this is what I'm gonna do with my life. And I basically just, that inspired me to my career, that album. So let's go with that.
All right, here's the next question. What's the perfect hip hop beat? Meaning if that person never came out with that song, you would have had that beat and it would have been your first single.
Ooh, well, we gonna say first single hypothetically, depending on the era, right?
It's up to you.
Because it might not have been able to be my first from age, but
whatever you want, it doesn't matter.
Perfect hip hop beat. Oh man, there's so many. Let's see. I'm the type of person. I don't always believe in favorites. I believe in the box with the box of favorites. So just hear me out on that. I like the box of favorites more than I could pick my one. But I'm gonna have to say, I should know this from my mixtape selections because I used to pick my mixtape beats this way. So, and I can't give more than one. I gotta give one. One. Okay. Let's say the perfect beat. I might have to go with. And I am kind of going from mixtapes. I may have to go with Mass Appeal. I might have to go with Mass Appeal. I mean, there's so many other ones I could think of, but that was one of them. It might be a Gangstar. It might be a Primo beat. It might be a Gangstar beat. I could maybe say Mass Appeal. I have done some mixtapes to Mass Appeal.
Okay,
I did so. So that's a fair one. That's always been one of my favorite beats. But I'm itching. So let's go to the next one because I got so many other ones that come to mind. I could jump around and pick another one. So
okay, Mount Westmore is a movement of great MCs that represent Cali in its own way. I believe the Crooklyn Dodgers was the perfect way to represent where you're from, where we had people from different sects of Brooklyn as a group that took their borough around the world. If you can make your own version of Crooklyn Dodgers only with MCs from the Bay, every area, who would your Crooklyn Dodgers of the Bay be and who's producing the beat?
With four? Like a Mount Rushmore of it?
Three.
So 3 plus me.
Okay.
Well, first of all, we got to go back to the. We got to say Oakland. We can't say the Bay. We got to say Oakland because that's where I'm from East Oakland. So I'm not going to go into the rest of the Bay. I'm just going to stick to Oakland. To say my favorites or to say my the top.
Your dream group. Your dream collabo.
My dream collabo.
Oh, like you know how the Crooklyn Dodgers toured as a group for that single.
So remember, me and 3 others.
Yeah. You want whatever you want, 2 or 3.
Okay. That's really easy because I already got 2 because I already had said I had a freestyle on a mixtape to award tour, and the last line I said, I'm somewhere between Dale and Short, glitch in the matrix. You better call Dale support. We on the award tour. I was doing that with my best friend Kato. He passed away, and this the anniversary month. So I'll say Dale, Too Short, and Hammer.
You, Dale, Too Short, and Hammer?
To be fair, like the Mount Rushmore, like the dream group, I think so, man. Like I could say Souls of Mischief, but I already showed love to them, and everybody know that's my favorite group. But it's too many of them, so like I don't want to separate them. So I had to say, I mean, you want to count Pac? I mean, I'm saying he's still not originally from Oakland, so I feel like I'm not giving. I had to give it to somebody else because a lot of people would say Pac. So I want to keep it in my city. I want to say Too Short, Down the Hammer, man. But
okay,
if we really saying like my favorites as my style of rap, I could say I know I'm missing somebody when I say Oakland. I know I'm missing that one extra person that I would really want in there. Cause Hammer was the original when we was young. Like that was our favorite. So that's like a dream. You said dream collabo. Cause he hard. That's my homie. Hammer my big homie, but it's hard to get Hammer, man. He real exclusive. So you feel me? That'd be big. DLabrie, MC Hammer, Too Short.
But who's producing the beat?
Who's Oakland producer?
Whatever you want.
Or any producer. Or
whoever you want. Whoever you want.
Whoever I want.
Yep.
If I say whoever I want out of beats I want to say an Oakland producer. If I had to say, I would say to produce this beat, and I know this sound like biased, but I would say my son, Booster Vu.
Okay, that's dope.
Because my son is an artist, he's a producer, and he makes beats, and he's in the South actually, but he was born in Oakland. And to give him that opportunity to produce my favorite collab would be epic. Cause I'm trying to bring him, like he's doing his thing. Like he ain't just in my shadow, like he's doing his thing out there. And he's making moves. He's from South Carolina, but it'll be dope because it would challenge him because he's more from the new era. So,
okay.
But if I had to say somebody from like the bigger artists, I might go with maybe Kanye, or I would go with Kanye or maybe RZA, because Wu-Tang was one of my favorites, and RZA's my dog. So I might say RZA, man, because I just enjoy how he approaches production, because I like left field approaches. So to have RZA produce a song with DLabrie, Hammer, Dell, and Short would be so different. It'll just be so epic, you know. But I'll say my son, RZA, you know, Kanye. But you told me pick one, so if the biggest rapper of all, I would say RZA. If it didn't have to be an Oakland producer,
okay,
I'll say RZA as a Wu-Tang fan.
Okay, so I want to touch on Vampire Network because it would be very irresponsible if we didn't talk about the Vampire Network.
Thank you.
So,
interesting song, man.
So Vampires are seen 4 to 5 different ways. Do you know the different ways about how vampires are viewed?
Like their characteristics?
Like the history of vampires.
History of vampires.
Check this out. There's 5 different views of vampires. One is that vampires are nocturnal and they represent the darkness.
You want me to finish?
No. I'm gonna give you all 5 of them. Yep. 2, there's an African mystique of vampires that said they did not come from bats, they came from mosquitoes.
Ooh, I never knew that one.
That's the second one.
Okay.
Third, the third thing about vampires is they live off of the blood. So the more evil, the more powerful they become.
Right.
The fourth one is that vampires are misogynist because they prey on the complementary, I don't say opposite sex. They prey on the complementary sex because their appeal is long-lasting life. And fifth and final is the vampire represents the bloodsuckers of the poor who oppress people because they live off of other people's lifeline to keep their lives going.
Right.
When you made the Vampire Network, were you reflecting off of any of those 5 myths, or were you building something new?
We metaphorically was using the I guess the more mainstream vampire. I'm very nocturnal. I'm a person who barely sleep. Like I go until I pass out. Basically, I'm a up all night guy. That's why one of my things I create 25/8. Like everybody knows that DLabrie barely sleep. So that almost that's almost part of it right there. The other one you said, mosquitoes. Nah, we had nothing. I didn't even know about that one. But The reason, I guess, the vampire part, we were talking about the backdrop of vampire like life and like the nightlife, the backdrop of just having that, like you said, it's late, people drunk on the side of the street, people doing this, doing that, shady things going on, shady dealings, you know, people out for blood. Like, we was using that metaphor, and I threw all those metaphors in my verse, and I think everybody else kind of played on that, because we were talking about how the streets can be like a vampire movie somewhat. Like, you can get attacked by vampires in the nightlife, and San Jose was the city like of the nightlife. When you let the clubs out, it's just so much going on. It's like the cops running around, chasing people on horses. It's just all kind of things happening. People getting stabbed, and like people up all night, and people just like robbing, like just so many different deals going on. And we just used to be youngsters out there in the middle of it all. So like, because Kung Fu Vampire was one of the top artists in San Jose, and he brought a lot of that energy of he dresses like a vampire. He had fans that dress like vampires come to his show. He had a band with the blood, they throw blood in the crowd, and he had that whole genre locked, and he ended up having a whole niche market. And he's a regular dude. I knew him before he was doing all that. So I used the fact of it was like kind of was a collab between me and him in a way, him and YDMC. So like, him being from San Jose, I was just tying in the times we spent together on that nightlife, like as youngsters in San Jose, dealing with that type of lifestyle, and that we was young rappers. We was in the middle of a lot, so we saw a lot together, and we wasn't like processing it like we do now. We was drunk in the streets and like just, you know, drooling at the mouth. We don't know, waking up on the side of the car, and like we, you know, just that type of vibe. So I tied it in with him. So what's the last one you said? The Bloodsuckers? We weren't calling ourselves the Bloodsuckers, but maybe at that age, we was living a little bit more like bloodsuckers, because we was young and ignorant, and we was like, you know, we was faded. We wasn't as responsible businessmen back then. So it was kind of a spoof joke of like putting all those metaphors together and just talking about how like the streets is real. Like it's really grimy out there, and we survived that, and we know what it is. We know what them alleys are. We know, like, we all done our thing. Like, we all grew to be grown men now and stuff. But just kind of saying, like, we remember these days. We remember the surviving the real vampire shit. And you know, it's a funny thing you said that. I'm glad you did. We got a remix coming out with the Outlaws. Rendezvous Records, we call it RDV. RDV and the Outlaws. And so the first one was an obvious horrorcore vibe, because we all really ran with the vampire concept. I knew all those rappers on there would go that route with me. I knew we could do that together, that group of artists. This version with the Outlaws is a little more of a if you want to call it, like a street militant conscious version of Vampire Network. So we flipping it on the remix into more of a like, stay up all night, grind all night, and survive the Vampire Network to get to motivate and do what you got to do in life. So I didn't want to throw the Outlaws on a version where I'm doing horrorcore like that. Another thing was the beat was slightly inspired by Hail Mary. That's why I say the hook like I do. That's why, because I wrote the verse really thinking of a collab with Kung Fu Vampire to his fans and the horrorcore fans. That I working with him and doing shows with him all these years, like some people know we know each other. So it was just like a different collab to have. Like, I wanted to switch it up on the album, and I threw my artist that rap like that on there, YDMC. He's part of RDV, Rendezvous Records, along with me and Kiana Selena and the rest of us. That's like our Wu-Tang, that's like our high road. RDV, Rendezvous Records, RDV crew. So when we did it, it was like I knew that was the vibe. And I released the single on Halloween, and it was like, okay, that's what we doing. We got this thing in the crew called Rendezvous, and that's like our dark side. That's like our alter ego. So like how the Wu-Tang do the karate flicks and the stuff like that, that's their alter ego. Ours is the Rendezvous, we turn into the darker ghost side of our underworld side, I would say. And we used to do this tour every Halloween called the Rendezvous Tour with the crew. So like that was like that's our little like inside joke with the crew. Like Rendezvous, what's up? So like when we do songs like that, that's kind of like our dark side. So that's kind of like a Rendezvous song where it's like, okay, we gonna go into this realm. And so that's what it was. But the Outlaws remix is gonna be more like motivation. We survived it. Like, get your hustle on. We hustle all night. And I changed the energy, and we're gonna have different guest appearances on that. We're gonna have more of that Kiana Selena vibe of like, cause some artists don't want to get on no horrorcore song like that because it's just not their image, you know? So I put more of the motivational rappers on the remix, and we just gonna have, you know, I'm a big, like I told you, DLabrie, love and beauty resides in everyone. Lies and bullshit revolve in everyday life. I'm a big yin and yang guy. I'm a Libra, bro. So every time I give you something, like if I give you a club song, I'm gonna give you a deep song. If I give you a story of idiot of like some dumb shit I did, I'm gonna give you a story of something that I did and learn from it. You know, I'm not gonna just go one direction and just leave it at that. I'm always trying to balance it out. So, you know, I felt like Vampire was me kind of opening up and showing my dark side a little because, you know, like I had a hard year last year, man. I had a really tough year, and sometimes people see your success, they see me traveling, they see me doing certain things, and like, you know, I maybe they think I'm getting older. Some people with younger artists I work with, they think, oh yeah, D been having it good, or he everything went good for him. And like, it's so crazy to see that. So sometimes you just got to remind people where you came from and what you dealt with, like what you lived through, you know, and that's kind of what that was. It was like, you know, network, daily, you know, what do you see? What do we have here now? Can you relate to this? I felt that line from the Outlaws back in the day. I really thought that was a dope line. And so I was like, this reminds me of Hail Mary. Let me just spit on this one and just let it out. And I had fun doing it. You know, it just became a single because we didn't want to wait till 2022 to wait to drop Up and Be Myself. We wanted to do something last year to warm up the year for Mr. Network Part 2. So this just kind of kept going. When MJ started running with it, people start showing it love beyond Halloween. So I'm like, okay, like that's cool.
So we got two more questions and then we're gonna fade out.
Okay.
The throwaway question is, how did you like
video coming soon too? Vampire Network. It should be out next week, by the way.
All right, make sure you tag me in it so I can promote it.
Will do.
Throwaway question is, how did you like being on Heritage Hip Hop, or would you recommend us to any independent artists and other mainstream artists in the game?
I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it a lot. Good questions. You know, you got a good vibe. Like, you know, you even started off by I love context. You put it in context. You said, look, we posted you already. And I knew that. And I got the link right up here in my browser window. Cause I keep it up because I share it on my Twitter. I don't know if you got my tweets. I have my promo team tweet it out every so often just to go with the campaign. And I appreciate that. So I've been telling people, yo, Heritage Hip Hop share my thing. Like, yo, the East Coast fucking with me. That's love. Like, so I've been happy about that. So I was looking forward to it with MJ because I had to research who y'all was at first because, you know, I'm trying to learn as I go. So she told me about y'all and I was like, okay, I looked y'all up and I was like, this is a dope site, man. I love it. It's nice to be getting pressed on a site like yours, you know? So I appreciate it. I love it. And I would definitely recommend it. And I'm always here for y'all, man.
Thank you very much. The final question, thank you for appearing on Heritage Hip Hop. It was a pleasure getting taught by you. Shout out to Oakland, shout out to Bay, shout out to Cali, shout out to
I'm here now,
Network.
man. I just got back.
Yeah, shout out to
Good
the
to be
Vampire
back.
Network. And I hope to touch your land one day and to be able to dap you in person and just say thank you for letting me interview you. For real.
That's important, bro. We gotta make that happen, bro. I'll be back. I'm leaving in May. I'm leaving on Malcolm X's birthday, going back to Asia for a while. But I'm looking to come back. I'm trying to set some East Coast shows up for the fall. If you got any plugs, let me know, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to come back with the new album, new show, new DJ, all that. Like I'm ready. I'm on my next life right now. So
all right,
reinventing a little bit.
Hey man, I only work with the best producers and people out there who make beats. So if you need,
there we go.
Let me know. All right.
I love it.
So the final question of the first interview is this: because Heritage Hip Hop has an open door policy, you don't have to be Billboard's top 100 to be on the platform. All I ask is that you have a good story, you're willing to teach people with your story, and we can have a good conversation. All right.
For sure.
And now for the final question. 500 years from now, DLabrie is going to be in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame. And in 500 years, a child is going to say, who's DLabrie? I don't know who that is. And they're going to push a red button and your hologram is going to come out of the wall and people are going to hear your music for whatever time it is. But you've inspired the next generation of people 500 years from now. So the most important question I want to ask you is, what is the legacy you left behind that made the world better because you created hip hop music?
The legacy I left behind and that's gonna shine for the next 500 years and beyond. Say that end part one more time.
What is the legacy you left behind that made the world better because you created hip hop music?
The legacy in my own words, not like a song or album. You mean like me saying what my legacy is?
Yep.
My legacy. I'll say my legacy is built into the name Mr. Network. It'll be my whole view of the network name was, a lot of people thought it was because of knowing people. That's how my manager used to call me that, because he's like, you know a lot of people. That's not my legacy. My legacy would be how I worked to change the narratives. How I work to change narratives and to inspire others to work on changing narratives to build something new. And because like a lot of it is, the change is coming, but if we don't change the narrative and be willing to take that step to say, this is really what it is. This is different than what they've been telling you. This is what should be. Let's fill this in with something else. So part of the network concept is basically to say, we all have a connection point. We have a connection to things. We have to find it. And that helps us. Once we can find our connections to other things, we can see the value of ourselves and others. And so my thing was, part of me, a lot of thing is telling a story, but I want to leave my legacy to be, I helped people find their story and find how it connects to the world at large and the world around them. That's really what the Mr. Network concept is all about. Like, I found the bravery to tell my story, but more importantly, I found how to find how it connected to everybody else's story. So I really want my legacy to be lifting people through finding their story, through the enjoyment of finding other stories, finding how every story matters. Like, and that's how you change the narrative. Because when you make it only this story matters, you make it only this is how to be, only I'm good when I'm this, or only I'm good if I follow this, we stop thinking and we stop challenging and we stop evolving. So like, if anything my music could represent as a legacy is changing the narratives and giving the strength and bravery that others find it as necessary. Or if they already doing that, I want to back that. Like, yes, change these narratives. There's a lot of things we hanging on to. We don't even know why. We just kind of like, what is our heritage? What is our legacy? Like, even you asking me that, we got to think to even get to that, as each one of us does. And we got to help each other do that. And so when I think of sharing my music and art, that's really what I take the most pride in. when you can come to me and say, man, we can party together, but when you can say, man, I saw It Ain't Easy. I'm a teacher. You said I'm a teacher. I'm a preschool teacher at Head Start. If you saw It Ain't Easy and you kind of say, man, this guy's good for hip hop and I want to big that up, not just because I'm a journalist and I was hired to do it, but because this is something we can see and celebrate in hip hop. Not me, but just the ideas in it. And so that's what I feel you're representing as a podcast, as a media source, and that's special. You're working to change the narrative, so I feel like, you know, we have to respect that and honor that. And so I would hope my music does that. My legacy honors things like that, and gives people the bravery to the next person that do a podcast, the next person a next artist that comes up and is asked, man, who you beefing with? Man, who your baby mama smashing? They have the bravery to say, no, this is what I'm about. This is how I'm gonna change things. Like, hey, man, rap's terrible. Okay, what you gonna say? You gonna say, yeah, rap's terrible, I'm terrible. Or you gonna say, no, rap got some bad issues, but I'm here to change the narrative. I'm here to change my kids' future. I'm here to stop beef. I'm here to create better hip hop. I'm here to read more and get more information. Or better yet, I'm here to write a book. I'm not here to wear Gucci. I'm here to create Gucci. Look, this is my brand. We need that. We need that. We don't need everybody to buy my brand. We need everybody to create brands and ideas and concepts and then share them, put them out. Like feel like it means something because it's part of you. It's not. If once we get caught up in that, like if I tell you I had a shirt brand, my last thing I care about is how much I sold them. I sold lots of these, but if your first question, how much money you making off that shirt brand? My shirt brand is priceless to me because it means something to my daughters. It means a concept. I create 25/8. I'm trying to turn this to a nonprofit. I said non-profit. You feel me? And we could all make money with nonprofits, but better yet, can I get 10 other kids that are DLabrie supporters or listeners to start a nonprofit? That's my legacy. My fans, I want y'all start. I don't want fans. I want people that listen to me to start a nonprofit, change narratives, change that community. It's a shame that Oakland looked worse than it did in the 80s, in the crack era. People intense. Like if my music and my message in this podcast can't be that something wrong with that, we had the Black Panthers. We had lots of deep rappers. We had the Coop. We had all these people. But Oakland looks worse than the 80s. We got people intense. We got people still dying over $5. You feel like it's something wrong with that. I think Lauren said something like that was crazy to me. Like, we can't be arguing over the king of hip hop and we can't argue over Jay-Z and Nas and Pac and Biggie no more. Like, we got to stop. Like, we can talk and have fun about our favorite rappers. That's cool. But we can't have grown men raising families still trying to live off of 19-year-old Pac beefs. And we got to change the narrative. Like, what did Pac and Biggie live? This is the narrative. Biggie's daughter is a shirt maker and has a brand. His daughter doing something great right now. All that man drama led to something better. That's what we want to know, man. We want to know about real legacies. Like you said, like, we need to talk about that. Like you asked me, what is our legacy that made Oakland hip hop powerful? I didn't say nothing about no slang. We made up all the slang. That's just our artistic selves. We make up, Black people make up a lot of stuff. But what is it? I like to say, a lot of my friends that rap, their kids are well educated and in college or they own businesses. They're not in East Oakland no more in violence. They're doing something good. Like, that's the legacy of hip hop that I want to talk about. That's the heritage. I want to honor my mom's sacrifice to get me to do this type of hip hop without, I don't feel I need to go out and disrespect women. I don't feel I need to do that type of stuff to be able to make money or things like that. Like, that's the legacy. That's changing the narrative. So that's what I'm hoping to do. That's what I work hard towards. I don't really work on bashing other rappers. I just look at it like if you can do what's needed, people will gravitate more to that than I shouldn't have to tear down others. Just shine and try to open up doors to give people more options. So that means the most to me as an artist. Like that's why I do things. That's why I'm fine being independent. I would be fine on a label. I would be fine on a label because I would only be on a label under the circumstances I want to be under. You know what I'm saying? So, I hope I'm glad you challenged me to answer that. And I've been saying that so long that you gave me a chance to really say it out loud and mean it. Change the fucking narrative. Let's stop regurgitating. Let's use our critical thinking and stop regurgitating these myths that's tearing us down, tearing us apart. Like, it's just not needed. Let's find the story in ourselves and remind ourselves that we got things in us that's valuable, not just money, not just clout, not just views. Views, whoever said views was, whoever said that was currency, that's not the winning solution. That's whoever said that. Man, I had people say to me, well, you ain't gonna really get no love on this song because the views ain't high. I never can listen to that. I'm gonna change the narrative. I'm just gonna keep doing it. I'm just gonna keep putting it out, and we'll see. I never said, no, man, I'm gonna get hella views. Hey, we'll see. Let's just put it out, and let's just hope it's useful. I make songs like It Ain't Easy. That video was not for sales. It was to use in classrooms. It is to be used in lectures and educational tours. So that's a way I could change the narrative from jump, because it's like when people say, well, how many views did it get? No, how many colleges, how many youth centers did I bring and do a whole program on It Ain't Easy? I brought It Ain't Easy to the White House, and Obama's staff loved it, and they gave us funding opportunities for it. That's how you change the narrative and legacy,
So with that being said, everybody, remember this. Your legacy is not something that you establish. It's the effect of life based on what you put out. So make sure you always put out your morality and make sure you always put out the truth, not just your truth, because a truth is a perspective. And the one perspective we all need is righteous mobility to move forward, not stay stagnant or move backwards. With that being said, this is Forever Heritage Hip Hop with my man DLabrie. Oakland, stand up. And we say peace.
Jersey, man. Big love to New Jersey, the East Coast, everybody out there in the world. Hey, show love to Heritage Hip Hop and respect your heritage if you into hip hop.
And we out.
For sure. One love.